The night before, everything changed. Some moments in life don't announce themselves. They don't come with noise or warning. They arrive quietly, usually at night. This is one of those moments. Jacob is standing at the edge of a river called Jabbok. Behind him is the life he built. Ahead of him is the life he's been running from. Tomorrow he will meet his brother Esau, the same brother he betrayed years ago, the same brother who once swore to kill him. Jacob sends his family ahead, then his servants, then his possessions, and finally, he is alone. The Bible doesn't say he prayed out loud. It doesn't say he cried. It only says this: Jacob was left alone. And that's when the wrestling begins. Who Jacob really was. To understand this night, you have to understand Jacob. Jacob wasn't evil, but he wasn't honest either. His name literally meant heel grabber, someone who trips others from behind, someone who gets ahead quietly. He took his brother's birthright, then his blessing, then he ran. And even when God blessed him with wealth, family, protection, Jacob never fully stopped being Jacob, always calculating, always planning an escape, always surviving. Now survival has run out, because tomorrow there is no running left. The stranger in the dark. The Bible says, a man wrestled with him until daybreak. No warning, no greeting. One moment Jacob is alone, the next, someone is on him. They grapple in the dirt, hands grabbing arms, breath against breath, footsteps slipping on stone. This isn't symbolic. This is physical. Jacob fights like a man who has fought his whole life, fighting loss, fear, consequences. The stranger doesn't overpower him immediately, and that's important. This isn't a show of brute force. It's a test of endurance. Hour after hour they wrestle, and the night drags on. Why the struggle lasted? Here's a question people often miss. Why didn't the angel stop the fight instantly? Because this wasn't about winning. It was about revealing who Jacob really was. Jacob had talked his way through life, manipulated his way forward, escaped consequences. But now there are no words, no tricks, only struggle. And Jacob doesn't quit. Not because he's strong, but because he has nothing left to lose. The touch that changed everything. As dawn approaches, the stranger does something unexpected. He touches Jacob's hip, just a touch, and Jacob collapses. His hip is dislocated instantly. No struggle, no effort. In that moment, Jacob understands. This man could have ended the fight at any time. This wasn't a contest of strength. It was a confrontation of identity. "Let me go!" The stranger says, "Let me go, for the day is breaking." Jacob is in pain, injured, exhausted, but he wraps his arms tighter. And he says one of the most honest lines in the Bible, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." This isn't pride anymore. This is desperation. Jacob isn't asking to win. He's asking to be changed. The question that exposed him. The stranger asks, "What is your name?" That question cuts deeper than the injury, because names matter. To say Jacob is to admit who he's always been, the deceiver, the runner, the survivor, and for the first time, Jacob doesn't explain, doesn't defend. He simply answers, Jacob. The new name. The stranger says, "Your name will no longer be Jacob." Pause. You will be called Israel, which means one who struggles with God, one who endures, not one who tricks, not one who escapes, one who stays. Jacob doesn't receive a blessing of wealth. He receives a new identity, because transformation doesn't begin with reward. It begins with truth. Peniel. Seeing God and living. Jacob asks one last question. "Please tell me your name." The stranger doesn't answer. Instead, he blesses him. And then, he's gone. As the sun rises, Jacob looks at the place and names it Peniel. I have seen God face to face, and yet my life was spared. Not because God wanted to destroy him, but because God wanted to remake him. The limp. Jacob walks away limping. This matters. The limp isn't punishment. It's remembrance. Every step reminds him, I am not who I was. Sometimes change leaves a mark, not to weaken us, but to keep us honest. The meeting with Esau. Later that day, Jacob meets Esau, and something incredible happens. Esau doesn't attack. He embraces him. The moment Jacob feared for years ends in mercy. But notice the order. Jacob wrestled with God before facing his brother. Inner transformation came first. What this story is really about. This story isn't about fighting God. It's about refusing to let go of him. It's about facing who you are before becoming who you're meant to be. Some nights feel like wrestling, like resistance, like silence. But maybe the struggle isn't rejection. Maybe it's invitation, a quiet reflection. Maybe you've been wrestling too, with guilt, with fear, with who you've been and who you're afraid you might be. This story reminds us, God doesn't wait for perfection. He meets us in honesty, and sometimes the darkest night is the birthplace of a new name. Jacob entered the night as a man running from his past. He left it as Israel, a man marked by truth, changed by encounter, and brave enough to face the morning. Sometimes blessing doesn't look like winning. Sometimes it looks like walking forward, even with a limp.